So when we want to pass, normally, I mean, it depends, but you have to know how to pass while you're on your feet and while you're on your knees. And keep in mind that even if you start to pass on your feet, you're gonna have to finish on your knees. It's really rare to pass like super clean like this. It doesn't really happen much. It may happen, but normally a more realistic scenario, you start passing the side and then he's framing and then we engage in a situation that we have disease, maybe you're gonna be able to establish. But you have those two phases. First one, you have to achieve a better position to start working on your knees. Because if you think that if you get your knees right here, I mean, it's not a big deal, but he has way more options to attack you. Compared to when you're on his side already, he doesn't have that much option, or fewer options than before. That's why it makes sense to sort of start on your feet, get a better starting position for your knees, not straight here. So that's how we build up the sequence this week, right? We started with a very simple pass, random pass. If you're able to clear the different ways and variations to do the turn, you can block the hips, you can get 2-on-1. It doesn't matter. Once you get on the side, you may be able to stabilize, but as I said, most likely he's going to be able to get some edge in his knee, his elbow, he's going to frame. And then we talked about jumping to the other side. I don't want to jump without blocking the knee, because the top knee, because as I jump, he's gonna be able to get me in a guard, maybe attack my arm. That's why if I want to jump to the other side, I gotta first control the top knee. So I like to grip on the outside of the knee, and I want to pin that knee down to the mat. But you may be asking, like, how do I get leverage to do that, right? Because it's my hand, my arm against his knee. If he blocks that or avoid that motion, he may not be or have enough leverage to actually bring that knee down. And to answer that question is, you have to think about your entire body. You're not just using your arm, but you're shifting to break. So as you shift, you have way more energy to transfer to that leg. So you're shifting and bringing down. And as you do that, since you want to jump to the other side, your head's going to go down. So if it is, your head goes down, you can move it up. Pass. He's going to frame. Start defending himself. All right. And the second part.
The second part, as you clear the legs, your opponent is early with the frames, so he has two arms extended reaching towards the shoulder. It's going to depend on your opponent's behavior. So for example, there are some opponents that for whatever reason, especially injured shoulders, do not reach. So they just keep their arms to themselves, so it's easier for you to reach with the shoulder. But a lot of opponents do start framing right from here, so I can't get close. So instead of fighting his arms, I just get the knee on belly. Okay, he cannot stop me doing that. As I get to knee on belly, if I just stay here, I don't have a lot of wedges. I just really have one on top of his hip. So I create another one on the outside. I create one under the head. Normally, when you get to knee on belly, your opponent is going to have a strong bridge if his spine is aligned. So when I wedge that hand under, I even Adam's family walk like the thing, so I misalign his spine. So now his bridge is way less efficient. but let's say some way, somehow he got his head free, and then he bridged up. If he bridges but I have the knee on top, I just bring him back down, switch, and get the other knee on top as well, heels to butt, windshield wiper, go to the other side of knee on belly. If he bridges again, but this time he clears my knee to the floor, I can no longer windshield wipe, and I can no longer go over the legs, because if I go over the legs, I will go back to guard. So I'll block the head to keep him on his side. If he tries getting his back on the floor, it will be hard now, but my arm is not enough to hold, so that's just a substitute for my leg. And then here I enter my elbow in front of the hip, and then I get the top spin. Once I get the top spin, we have situations where I'm gonna land in a top control, or situations where my opponent may be trying to turtle, and then I'm gonna start attacking with back attacks. All right. Any questions, guys? 1, 2?
Those 4 situations makes us think about the first principle that we talk in Jiu-Jitsu, which is flow. So I have a problem here, which is the guard. I have to pass. I'm not moving or firing the legs. I'm walking around. But then he's framing. I'm moving around as well. Let's see, he's framing this way now. I get my knee on belly to try to stabilize. I go with pin. I go back into the other side. I go with pin. He's able to escape his hips. I pivot and go back and establish. So it's really important to think that way, that you have to move. You don't want to move your partner, especially when you're passing. When you're sweeping, it's a different conversation because you have to use more leverage points in order to move your opponent and then move yourself. But when you're passing, it's really easy to understand that concept of moving yourself, flowing with your opponent. So make sure you practice that as well. All right, guys. 1, 2.